Did we see this? I'm thinking in the video, I did see the coyote kind of like do something funny right at the opening of the tunnel. What did the coyote kind of do? What did it look like it was about to do? Yeah, Alice.
I think it was
That's okay. Let's go back and rewatch it because it was so quick. Let's watch this play bow. Oh, there it is. Oops, we almost missed it again. It was so fast. Any of you who have dogs or seen a dog do a little jump like that where they kind of jump forward and jump back and it feels really playful, kind of an invitation for them to start playing with them? Thumbs up if you've ever seen an animal or a dog do kind of a play jump like that.
I have a dog.
Yeah, my dog, I have 2 dogs and they play together like that all the time. They sort of, one jumps forward, one jumps back, and they do that sort of play jump thing. So I'm using my thinking voice to connect it to what I'm reading. All right, last little bit. Then the coyote hops around. He is clearly waiting for the badger to follow. It is not far behind. The badger soon catches up, and then the 2 walk into the tunnel. A great team. Coyotes and badgers make a great team. They have different skills. When they work together, they catch more animals to eat. Both of them hunt squirrels. They also hunt prairie dogs. Coyotes and badgers have been seen together before. Badgers are not easy to spot. They spend a lot of time underground. So that's making me think back to when I said I don't know a lot about badgers. I'm starting to learn from this article that badgers spend most of their time underground, so that tunnel is kind of a perfect place for them. And maybe that's why I don't see them a lot, is because they spend most of their time underground. The new video is cute. It also gives important information. This can help protect wildlife. It shows some animals use tunnels under roads. They use the tunnels to travel. Scientists like to know where wild animals travel in cities. Well, I was thinking about that too, because we live in a city, and our city has some tunnels too. I've seen them downtown. Sometimes if you walk downtown, there's some grates that you walk over in the sidewalk, and if you look down them, there's kind of tunnels down there, but we protect them so we can walk over them so we don't fall on accident. But I've noticed that too, that our cities have tunnels as well. And I do wonder, this is my thinking voice again, I'm wondering, where do the animals go in our city? So that's kind of an interesting thought, that maybe we don't know it and we don't see them, but they're in the tunnels sometimes, and that they can be unlikely friends and hunt together. So that informational text gave us a whole bunch of new information about an unlikely friendship of coyotes and badgers. And we can use our reading voice and our thinking voice to really help us understand not only the words in the story, but the meaning of the story as well. So we're going to keep practicing that even more. And we're going to read a cool story called The Teacher from the Black Lagoon. And then that's going to be your assignment for reading today, is as readers, we use information from the text and the illustration. So the illustrations are the images that the illustrator has drawn or taken a picture of. And we're going to use them to demonstrate understanding of the characters, the setting, and the plot. So the setting is going to help us to understand, where does the story take place? So can someone tell me, where did the story take place in the unlikely friendship between the badger and the coyote? Does anyone remember, where did that story take place? It was in a city not near us, but a city kind of far away. Connor?
In a tunnel.
In a tunnel. Does anyone remember what state it was in?
Colorado.
You're very close. It did start with a C. California. So the setting of that story was in a tunnel in California. So we can use the images, so the tunnel helped us with that information, and we can use the illustrations in the text to help us understand the characters, the setting, and the plot. So what is the story about? And that story was about the friendship between a badger and a coyote and how they are friends so that they can hunt together and catch more animals. So we're going to do that same thinking with this story, and we're going to think about who are the characters, what is the setting, so where does the story take place, and what's the plot? What is the story about? All right, let me share my screen with you, but before, I think we've been sitting for far too long, so can you stand up and reach your fingers as high as you can up to the ceiling? And then bend backwards a little bit so that your back is tilting backwards like this. Okay, now reach as far down as you can to the ground. Oh my gosh, I can almost touch the floor. Okay, and then wiggle your fingers as crazily as you can. And then your elbows. Okay, sit back down. Make your back as straight as it can on your seat so that your spine can kind of wake up, and you can use all of those muscles in your stomach to keep yourself sitting straight up. We want to use all of those muscles so that we can keep practicing using them, just like we're practicing using our muscles in our brains. All right, the teacher from the Black Lagoon. Oops. This is a story by Mike Thaler, and the pictures or the illustrations are by Jared Lee. It was the first day of school. I wonder who my teacher is. I heard Mr. Smith has dandruff and warts. Look at those warts on his nose. And Mrs. Jones has a whip and a wig. There's Mrs. Jones. She looks a little scary. But Mrs. Green is supposed to be a real monster. Oh my, I have her. Mrs. Green, room 109. Remember that? What a bummer. So where does the story take place? What is the setting of the story already? Can someone tell me? We know Jakar. Where does this story take place? Can you unmute for me, bud?
It takes place at the cave.
Yes, it takes place at, this is the school, right? And specifically, what room does it take place in? Where is this setting really going to be, Connor? Oops, I lost you. I thought I had you on. Yep, Connor. What room is it going to be in? Can you hear us, buddy? What room? Room what?
Room 109.
Perfect. The setting is room 109. That may or may not be a question you might need to know for later. I sit at my desk and I fold my hands. I close my eyes. I'm too young to die. Suddenly, a shadow covers the door. In slithers Mrs. Green. She is really green. She has a tail. She scratches her name on the blackboard with her claws. Freddie Jones throws a spitball. She curls up her lips and breathes fire at him. Freddie's gone. What did Freddie throw? There it is right there. He threw a spitball at the teacher. There is just a little pile of ashes on his desk. Talk about bad breath, giggles Eric Porter. Uh-oh. She slithers over, she unscrews his head, and she puts it on a globe stand. There's his head. I bet she gives homework on the first day of school. So now he said it like I bet instead of she told me she gives homework on the first day of school. So I'm starting to wonder if maybe something else is going on. Maybe she's dreaming. I'm going to infer that maybe he's dreaming. Your homework for today, Mrs. Green grins, smoke rising from her nostrils, is pages 1 to 200 in your math book. All of the fraction math problems. We've never had fractions, shouts Derek Bloom. Come up here, she beckons with her claw. Uh-oh. Derek stands by her desk. This is a whole boy, she smirks. She takes a big bite. This is half a boy. Now you've had fractions. Doris Foodle cracks her gum. Uh-oh. Mrs. Green swallows her in one gulp. No chewing in class, she smiles. Mr. Bender, the principal, sticks his head in. Keep up the good work. He nods and closes the door. I wish I could get sent to the principal's office. Let's call the roll, crackles Mrs. Green. Freddie Jones is absent. Derek Bloom is half there. Well, my reading voice just read that Freddie is absent. My thinking voice is saying, well, isn't he absent because she ate him? My reading voice read, Derek Bloom is half there. What happened to Derek Bloom again? Connor, where did he go? Why is he only half there?
Because she ate him.
She ate half of him to show them how to do fractions in math. Derek Bloom is half there. Eric Porter is here and there. Well, he's here and there because his head is on a globe, but the rest of him is there. And Doris Foodle is digesting. What about spelling? Shouts Randy Potts. Spelling can be fun, beamed Mrs. Green, wiggling her fingers at him. Abracadabra kazam. That's tough to spell, says Randy. Suddenly, there's a flash of light, a puff of smoke, and Randy is a frog. Penny Weber raises her hand. Can I go to the nurse? She whines. What's wrong? Asked Mrs. Green. I have a huge headache, says Penny. So there's her big headache. Mrs. Green wiggles her fingers. There's another flash of light, and Penny's head is the size of a pin. There it is, nice and tiny. Better? Asked Mrs. Green. Now it's nap time. Everyone who still has one, put your head on the desk. I hope I make it to recess. Sweet dreams. So there he is on his desk, dreaming of being at home. She calls as I close my eyes. Suddenly, the bell rings. I wake up. There's a pretty woman writing her name on the blackboard. She has real skin and no tail. I'm Mrs. Green, your teacher, she smiles. I jump out of my chair and run and hug her. Well, thank you, she says. I'm glad to be here. Not as glad as I am. And there he is, smiling and hugging Mrs. Green. And there's what he thought Mrs. Green was going to look like. So my reading voice was stopping me, and I was thinking, I wonder if he was dreaming that whole time, and really, he was so scared that Mrs. Green would be green because her name was Mrs. Green. But really, she was actually really nice, right? He was just dreaming all of those horrible things would happen. Okay, so we just read The Teacher from the Black Lagoon, and we read our informational text, Is a Coyote Friends with a Badger? And we use the information from the text and the illustrations, the pictures, to kind of demonstrate an understanding. So it helped us to understand more about the characters the setting where the story took place, and the plot. What was the story about? We heard that the setting, Connor told us, was that it happened the story was taking place in room 109. Some of our characters were Freddie. Freddie was the one that threw the spitball. Our other one was Derek, and Derek was the little boy who was wondering about fractions, and he was whole, and then he was a half. We had Doris, who was cracking her gum, and then she was eaten in one gulp. So there were lots of different characters in this story. We know our main character, right? We can go back and look. A good thing that we can do as readers is to always go back and check. Our main character was, well, Mrs. Green, right? The teacher that he was scared of. And then let's see, what was the last thing that we needed to know? I think that we covered them all. All right. I want to show you really quick, once again, where you can go to answer our question of the day. So once you go onto my Canvas page, this is just some more practice for us. You can click my name and my little emoji will show up. When you scroll past your pictures, you can scroll past morning meeting. We've already answered that question. Go down to reading and click the reading button. Once you're there, make sure you click on Wednesday. On Wednesday, you'll see the Black Lagoon. So once you're in there, this says, you just heard the teacher from the Black Lagoon. Let's check your learning. Here's a discussion question, just like our morning meeting discussion. So you can click the reply button. And this example is like our sentence stems that we use for our morning meeting. I'll get there 1 second, Julia. And you can type in this box, I would have, using our sentence stem, and then fill in the blank. What would you have done in hubby's situation? So that was QB situation. That was the main character. Make sure you use a capital to start your sentence and a period to end your sentence. Once you're finished with that response, you'll click next. And then this is where you take your quiz like you did yesterday for reading. There's 3 questions, and we just went over them all, so we should be able to answer those to the best of our ability. Make sure you're practicing using your own thinking. I want to know your thinking. So I know some of you have some helpers at home with you to help you stay on Zoom. I just want to know your thinking. So make sure you're doing this all on your own. Click next when you're done. So just like yesterday, it says all done. Please log into Lexia and spend 12 to 15 minutes working on your Lexia minutes. So this button right here is a live link. So you can click that button and it should take you to your Lexia portal. And then you can get started working 12 to 15 minutes for the day. When you're all finished and you'll click here, it should take you back to our homepage. Okay? I'm going to stop sharing so I can see your faces. Does anyone have a question about what you're going to do when we log off of Zoom today? Elena, will you unmute so I can answer your question? Sweet girl, will you speak up just a little bit so we can hear you?
Are we going to do Dreambox for math?
We are going to do Dreambox, but we'll talk about that after we do math in a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. Yesterday I got to meet with 3 of you and we got to start doing our reading inventory, and I got to learn a little bit more about what type of books you like to read. So we're going to do that again today. So I'm going to ask a few of you to stay on our Zoom so that we can have some time to talk. Oh, sorry, Miss Jones. And then you will log off and get started on your Canvas work as well. I saw Jaden has her hand up. Jaden, do you have a question? Will you unmute, please?
Sometimes my mom works like sometimes overnight. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you were able to make it to class today. Does anyone have a question about what we're going to do in reading? Aaron, will you unmute so you can ask your question?
Actually, my Lexia always glitches, so I may have to skip
Alexia.
Okay, Erin, I've actually heard that from a few people that sometimes their Lexia has not been working very well. If you try a few times and your Lexia does not work, could you read a book for 12 to 15 minutes on your own instead? Is that an option for you? Maybe. Okay. We can talk a little bit more about why maybe your Lexia is working. I'll write that down because that's been something that has come up a few times. Thank you for letting me know. If you don't have any questions for me, you can log off. I'd like to see Jakar, so will you please stay? I would like to see Elena, will you please stay? And Alice, will you please stay? The rest of you can log off if you don't have a question, but I see Connor has a question. So Connor. Will you unmute, please?
During the meeting, you kept
Oops, I can't hear you, buddy. Did you say maybe you could hear me sometimes, then you couldn't hear me sometimes? Is that what you were saying?
I just couldn't hear you.
Okay, I'm wondering if it's something that's happening with your computer and my computer. Can the rest of you hear me? Am I glitching? Yeah, okay. So Connor, maybe you and I can talk to your mom a little bit later today. Maybe it's something that our computer is having a hard time with, okay? Will you log off and get started on your Canvas work, please?
Yes.
Okay, bye, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Theo, do you have a question? Will you unmute, please?
Am I going to meet with Miss, yeah. Am I going to meet with someone today?
With Miss Jones today?
Yeah.
Not right now, Theo. I'm going to stay on with Miss Hartnagel and kind of like what we did yesterday. I'm going to meet with some other people today to do that, okay?
Oh.
I think, Theo, I'm going to meet with you later during math, okay? So I'll see you today later after 10:30, after our math.
Okay.
Okay, I'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye, buddy.
Bye.
Okay. Oh, Jakar, do you have a question, bud? Oh, Julia, really quick. Julia, will you answer your question so then you can get started? And then Jakar, I'll help you in a second. Will you unmute, please?
When do we get back on?
10:30 for math. You can, Julia, if you would like to stay on Zoom and just move your video over to stop video like you did yesterday during reading and turn your sound off, you could do that. Okay. All right, Jakar, do you have a question?
So I had to sit back on Zoom.
Yes, you'll get back on Zoom at 10:30 for math. But you're
going to stay.
Yeah. We've got all of our people who are staying, all of our friends. All right. Oh, sorry. Hi, Miss Rutherton.
Hi. I'm so glad to see you all on Zoom.
Miss Jones, do you want us to do a breakout room with Jakar?
Yeah, if we can, that's fine.
Okay. Let me stop recording.